this morning, there are growing concerns regarding what's going on with the Trump administration and the federal return to work mandate, specifically among federal employees who are also military spouses. OPM's memo sent last week about the return to the office plan does not explicitly require them to return to the office, which has some workers feeling uncertain about what's next. Later today, a bipartisan effort on Capitol Hill will aim to protect these military families. Marcella Robertson joins us now live from Capitol Hill with the latest. Good morning, Marcella.
Yeah, Wisdom, good morning to you. Well, that OPM memo that you're referring to, it says that those military spouses who are federal workers should be able to continue their remote work. But a lot of the concern really surrounds that there aren't any specifics, still lack of clarity. And some families are concerned that they'll be having to be forced to make some difficult choices when it comes to their careers and their families. So later this morning, a bipartisan bill will be introduced in the House to try to address some of that and try to protect some of those military families. So joining me this morning is Congressman Vindman. I know you are leading the effort on this. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Great to be with you this crisp Wednesday morning.
Very crisp, right? Talk about why this was so important to you and kind of give us a little bit of a better sense of this act.
Sure, absolutely. So this act addresses a critical issue, allows me to tackle two things that I'm very passionate about: militaries and military family members, and constituent services. After the OPM memo came out, we received a phone call from a constituent, a active duty service member spouse who works for a headquarters in D.C. They live on the opposite end of the district 100 miles away. So in this OPM memo put this family in an unenviable position of having to decide between continued military service and supporting the family and a spouse's career.
Yeah.
And I'm able to introduce this piece of legislation that will address this issue in a bipartisan way with my colleague.
Yeah, and talk about the bipartisan aspect, which obviously is important when we're talking about getting something through Congress. Why is that support important for you?
Absolutely. So I have 3 military installations in my district. My colleague, Rob Whitman, also has a number of military installations in his district. I understand he had constituents that called in with a similar concern. This allowed us to address a pressing concern, making sure that we can keep this family together, continue to have quality employees work for the federal government, and make sure that we can work in a bipartisan manner. You know, sometimes this town can be fractious, and in this case, military families, service members, national security, there are a number of issues we can come together in a bipartisan way. And I look forward to doing that.
You know, everything is moving kind of so quickly as far as like the mandates and things that are required of federal employees. Talk about, why this is important to really put something in place to kind of ensure those military families specifically.
So the way these executive orders are coming out, they're coming out with very little specificity. It's causing, consternation, some chaos. And so this actually addresses in a very concrete way. It's a narrow bill, addresses a narrow issue. It'll affect this particular family and hundreds and thousands of families around the country. Makes it clear that service member spouses, they're not doing their remote work based on COVID or something like that. They're doing it based on the status of the service member spouse. In this case, the spouse, active duty service member, can't move. Yeah. And so he has a mission to do. He travels often. She works a very important job for the federal government, 100 miles away. 200-mile round trip every day is untenable. And so this makes it clear that, at least in this case, and we'll look for other opportunities to make sure that we're taking care of our hardworking civil servants. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and quick, got 10 seconds left. The path forward. How likely do you feel like this is going to, make it to the end?
I feel really good. I mean, this is a bipartisan issue. It's an American issue. There's a sort of fast track to these bills called suspension. I feel like a bill like this that's narrow and serves military families can go through pretty quickly.
All right, Congressman, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. So there you guys have it. Obviously, a goal to protect some military families and spouses who are, looking for answers when it comes to this mandate to get back to the office. Again, that bill will be introduced later this morning in the House, and we'll be sure to track its progress. Back to you.
All right, Marcella Robertson.